1-0 Burnley! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly, finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell, saved by the keeper.
Burnley won it to the end. That is magnificent. They deserve that.
On it by Paul for Tella, on for a hat trick.
He's got it. Hat-trick for Nathan Tella. Oh, he's on fire at the minute. 3-0 Burnley. It's Nathan Tella's day. And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby.
Here's Benson, and he go on the outside, comes inside, top shot.
Oh, the goal. Manuel Benson once more. That is top class. Burnley have done it. Fantastic. The Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Good evening and welcome to the Turfcast podcast. That's an unusual one for me to say, and yeah, we'll get it out of the way. It's probably sat there watching, going, "Who's this Muppet talking? Where's Joe? What's Joe up to?" Yeah, we've kidnapped him. We've hijacked the podcast. It's mine and Sam's now. We've had it. No, basically, I don't know if you see me knocking about. I've been on plenty of other podcasts, but I hosted one called Burnley Mondial. That was, something I really enjoyed doing, but then me and Joe had a few meetings, a couple of chats, and we realised that we're sort of going in the same direction, trying to do the same content. So we thought it'd be better to put all our efforts into one project and level up all the content that we can produce and put it all through Turfcast, and hopefully me and Joe working together along with Sam and a few other lads, and yeah, we can hopefully really kick the standard up. So yeah, we've got that out of the way. So yeah, Burnley Mondial is now merged with Turfcast. So yeah, if we did follow Turfcast and you follow Burnley Mondial and now you see me over here, forget about that, jump over to Turfcast. That's where the party's at. So how you doing, Sam? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm not bad, bud. I'm not bad. I do definitely back this idea of bringing you over to Turfcast. Your content before
Like
bud, was
it.
really good. So getting you and Joe together, it's going to be a brilliant season going forward.
We like it. Yeah, we've got a load of good ideas. We've got a load of big crazy plans, but we'll just take it one step at a time. And we've got, like I say, we've got yourself, we've got Neil, we've got a few others, and we've built a decent little squad now, haven't we? So hopefully we can have a good season. So yeah, first of all, where can everyone find you, Sam? I know you like to comment a lot on Twitter and get your 2 pence in. So where can everyone find you first?
The Clarets Roundup page on Twitter. Just come around, have a chat. Love talking Burnley football, everything. Yeah.
Love it. So yeah, we'll see. We've got a few people watching, a few comments. We've got Vizzy in the chat. He's watching. How's it going, mate? Mazzala is flying. If you need a print, football, anything to do with print, so get onto Vizzy's Mazzala, because that is just hit the sky. That thing. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know if he's done it, but fair play to the lad.
Brilliant.
What else we've got? Nash. Yeah, they're from the Robinson's. Yeah, cheers. The new one. Yeah. What do you think about the new shirt, Sam? I don't know if we spoke about it yet.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. We had a little mini chat about it just before we came on, didn't we? I think it's got a lot of finer details. Nice badge. Even though everybody were getting all up here about this new badge, it's not a new badge. It's the same. No. I like the collar. I think the collar gives it a retro
big
look.
Fan.
So yeah, really like it.
Yeah, big fan. I think it's going to be. It might take a while for people to get around to liking it, but I think it'll be a classic when it comes back around to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it on the pitch. It's being on the pitch. We've got a lot of good friendlies coming up later in the year. So yeah, tonight all we're going to do is just going to rattle through as many transfers as we can. Open up the debate to a few of us, see what people are thinking. I don't know about you, but I've been struggling to keep up with all the transfers. I've never known anything like it. Just player after player after player.
I know. I'm loving the direction that the club's going in as well. We're looking in the same ballpark of players for big money, and then the experienced players. We're looking at free agents, lower price players, people that can come in and make an impact. Still, not like the Aaron Lennon days, like where it's you're bringing him in just to be an experienced head. Like, I mean, we'll get more into it later on, but some of the players that we are looking at can still play a part for us now. So yeah, absolutely loving it. And the new links every day. It's so exciting.
I know. For the first time in a while, it feels like we actually have some sort of a strategy and a specific type of player that we want. Not just, I mean, we probably did have a specific type of player in the past. Did he play for Stoke? Is he over 35? Is he British? But like, I feel like now we've actually got, like an idea of what we want a player to look like, whether, he's from Belgium, England, young, sort of, getting on a little bit. They feel like they fit in the system. So that's like really refreshing to sort of see that. So first one we'll talk about, it's pretty obvious. I think it's a done deal. It's common knowledge. It's just a matter of time now. Is James Trafford. We also his mad heroics in the under-21s. He's got like a calm cockiness about him. He doesn't He doesn't feel like he's a bit of a big head, but he's got the credentials to back it up. I don't know if you've seen much of him last season. I don't know if you managed to see anything of him. Sam?
Yeah, good player for Bolton. We're at 22 clean sheets he got as well. Like,
yeah,
you're not a terrible goalkeeper if you get 22 clean sheets. Like, so yeah, really pleased with the signing, to be fair.
Yeah, that should be announced anytime this week. I think now. I believe the medical's been done. I think all the promo stuff's been done.
Yeah.
He's going to land back in Burnley this week off holiday. So yeah, that's. How do you see him slotting in? Do you see him going straight into his number one, or do you see Muric staying as obviously he's not number one, but the actual the starting on the starting team sheet? Do you see him Muric starting and then Trafford getting his foot in the door after a few games, or how do you see it going?
It's a weird one, really. It's one of those ones where, like, I do still have a bit of a loyalty to Muric. I do think the guy was good for us. I don't think there's any real answer that you can give where you say Muric doesn't deserve that number one spot. If you're in a team nearly every single game, week in, week out, getting clean sheets, making saves, granted our defence was very good last season, so we didn't concede as many chances as we probably will do in the Premier League. I don't think Muric on paper has done anything really to say that he shouldn't start. However, when you matched up against James Trafford, who has just come off these heroics, not conceded a goal in the entire under-21s European Championships, like also with his 22 clean sheets, playing for Bolton, and he's a Man City Academy graduate. Like, all these and he's young. All these things that you add up, you kind of think what we're doing now is what Everton did with Jordan Pickford. Like, you go for England's next best upcoming goalkeeper and you will reap the benefits. Either if it stays, he'll be brilliant, or in 3 or 4 seasons' time, you've added 25, 30 million pounds to his price tag. It's a clever move from the club from all avenues, and I just think he'd be a brilliant signing. So yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think just from like a monetary point of view, I think I feel like the Pace, Alan Pace and his sort of backroom, his team, they look at players as like little investment portfolios, don't they? And this to me feels like the soundest investment you can probably make in football at this minute right now. Obviously, minus the big hitters and all that sort of stuff. But I think 14 million going to 19. I think even if he has a mediocre season, keeps a few clean sheets, makes a few good performances, you're gonna get 20 million from him. So you're gonna get your money back. It's a guaranteed return. He's going to back himself to perform in the Prem, so I think it's just a win-win all round. It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the sort of fight between Muric. If Muric does stay, which I'm hoping he does, to have such quality in positions 1 and 2 in the goalkeeping department. Like, I've never known anything like that. To have such high level of goalkeeping, and that surely, if you're a professional goalkeeper or even a player, that's going to either, if you're sat on the bench, you're going to push a little bit harder to perform in training better every day. And if you're in the starting 11, you're going to push even that bit harder because you know that someone's behind you ready to come in.
Absolutely. I think I think the positive side to the deal is the structure that we're doing it at. Like, even before the Euros, £14 million for a guy who, okay, you can dive a little bit deeper into it and you can look at the league and you can say it's a big jump up. I've had the exact same conversation about Scott Twine. I still think Scott Twine is one of the best players that in recent Burnley history we will have signed. Come 3-4 years time, I think he'll be brilliant. But I do think the step up from League One and missing half the Championship season to the Premier League is going to be huge for him. So I personally think he deserves a loan. With James Trafford in his position, he's just £14 million. You could argue like, oh, maybe it's a little bit. And then you look at the 19, you're like, whoa, this could be a bit ridiculous. Just go back to a week ago. You have the biggest moment in your country's under-21 history. And you save a penalty with the last kick of the game after telling everybody you were going to save a penalty, and everybody sat there. All these good players as well, like Cole Palmer, all these brilliant players saying he's going to save it. These players rate you. The manager rates you. Our owner rates you. So in turn, I rate you. So I think it's a brilliant signing.
Yeah, I agree. I think either or. I love Muric because he come in and he did such a good job for us. You know, he had his moments in the season, but I think you could probably say that about everybody in the squad. They all had a bit of a moment last season, but he was consistent. He fit the system really well. And if we can improve on Muric, then that's an even bigger positive. If Muric gets better, that's still a positive. You know, if Trafford don't quite hit the ground running, Muric gets better. It's a win-win all round. So 100%. Yeah, I'm excited for it. So,
no, I totally agree.
Yeah. So the next one, I'd say a bit of a shift change in type of player, but Nathan Redmond. This sort of, to me, came out of the blue. Obviously, it's a player we all know. He's been around. I feel like he's only 29, but I feel like he's been around for. Like, he's like the new Theo Walcott, isn't he? I feel like he's been around forever, but overall, actually, I've not followed. I didn't watch him in Besiktas. I didn't know how he got on. It all came out of the blue. Personally, I don't see it as a problem having a player like Nathan Redmond in Premier League quality. He knows his way around Premier League team. I think it's going to be a great addition, something that we've needed. I think we've got a good balance. Well, we should have a good balance of young and experienced, and I feel like we were just leaning on the young side and inexperienced side a bit too much, and I think this just swings it back in the balanced favour now.
The pendulum swings back from this youth team that we had that's gone through this fairy tale season, and this kind of almost grounds us back together. We've kept Rodriguez, we've kept Jack Cork, we're bringing in Redmond, we're bringing in Andros Townsend. These four will create probably a little dynamic in the dressing room of like, listen, we're the vets, and you guys are the new up-and-coming players, and we are going to lean on you to perform on the pitch, but we're going to ground you all as well. I think when it comes to a player like Nathan Redmond, if you go back to any of my Leeds mates that are over here, like I'm telling you, for about 4 or 5 years, I've said Nathan Redmond is a player that I would love to see at Burnley. We might have got him, when he's in the, pushing towards the twilight of his career, but Nathan Redmond is still a very, very good player, and he's still a good utility player in the Premier League. I thought it was weird when he left Southampton to go to Besiktas anyway. He's gone there. Obviously, I don't think many people that have been over there on loan or whatever have hit the heights because it's a very strange league. For him to come back to where he's known for his best football, I think, like you say, the depth in positions is brilliant. And I think it also adds our winger situation last season was so brilliant because we had so many different dynamics. You could bring Cherlinov on, you could bring Twine on and play him there, you could bring Goodmanson on, who's a technician. Then you've got Benson, who's just a magician. Then you've got Zareri, who's got quick feet and can beat a man. And then you have Tella, who's so fast. Just bringing in Redmond, it's just something different. And it means that when we chop and change the team and we bring players out, it'd be so nice to see us have a bench in the Premier League. Like,
I know.
It'd be crazy.
I know. I said that to my mate. It's like, we're actually going to be in the Premier League and we're going to be actually able to look down the bench and go, oh, we could bring him on and we can change that. We can, we could bring this for you. And it's probably giving me a bit of like a false sense of excitement and like optimism for the season. And I don't like it. It makes me nervous. I'm used to just going, right, let's get 35 points up board and we'll just go from there sort of thing.
It's a pessimistic view of being a Burnley fan, like over the last kind of 40 years. Like, I mean, obviously not myself, but like, over this amount of time, we've seen so many different Burnley teams, and you kind of get used to this kind of like okay,
Yeah.
we're not really going to have a bench, but the starting 11 will work for the team. They'll all work as a big unit. Now we're just like, we're like circus football. We're like the
It's
Harlem
great, isn't it?
Globetrotters of the Premier League. It's
Yeah.
brilliant, but yeah,
So
it's really exciting.
without obviously knowing too much about Redmond's recent playing issue, do you see him being a starter in the team at the beginning, just to sort of let the other lads that have had the inexperience in the Prem sort of bed themselves into this sort of... 'cause being in the Premier League, it comes with all the added baggage, doesn't it? Of like the spotlight, there's more cameras on a match day, there's more interviews, more. So I'm wondering if company might actually let Redmond take the reins a little bit and be that starting, or have that starting position, and let the like your Bensons and Zarouris actually come in and be drip fed in, which I think if you look at the bigger picture, I think it's a really smart move.
Yeah.
So Tony raised a good point as well. Like 29 for a Premier League player, like we could get 3 for a free signing. I don't know how long the contract's going to be, whether it's going to be a year with an option to extend if we stay up, or the 2 year whatever. But 29 is an absolute bargain. It's an absolute no brainer, isn't it, of someone of his quality.
I think when I was saying twilight of your career, I kind of mean like he's currently in what should be like his prime years. So we'll get like a couple of prime years, and then we'll start to see the tail off. I think the thing with Nathan Redmond is, and like I say, it's because I still think he's a really good player. But it's like you said, like I still see him as like this 23-year-old Nathan Redmond, like he's been around for ages. I can see him starting. I don't think he will. I think the only player that I could see out of the attacking kind of 4 or 5 players that we've had is Zaroury being the player to bed in, because Benson, in my opinion, I think even at the start of the season he was ready-made. I think it just took a bit of time for him to get his end product sorted and his balls into the box, and then after that it was brilliant. And then he had his little injury.
Fixed the end product, didn't he?
Yeah. But just before that, just before he even got injured, it was great. Still, the game against Millwall, when he got
this isn't intentional, by the way. This was purely coincidental.
It was.
There was absolutely not a setup whatsoever.
So yeah, if it was up to me, I'd say keep it the same. But I also wouldn't hate it if it did happen. And I looked at the team sheet against Man City and I saw Nathan Redmond, because when you sign somebody on a free transfer, you do get a little bit of leeway where it's like, okay, if you give him 5 weeks as a starter and it doesn't work, it's like we've spent nothing on him. So the manager can pull the plug a little bit and say, right, be an impact player, and then give Zaroury a go. He's had time to have pre-season, train with the team, get some Premier League minutes off the bench, because he inevitably will do if he didn't start. And we'll start to see Anas shine like he did when he first came in. Nobody had any expectations for Anas. I remember when we signed him and people were like, right, Tella, this person, all this happens. We've played 13 games and we've not even seen Zaroury. I've kind of forgotten about him. And he came in and then he was nearly everybody's fan favourite at one point in the season. So, I won't be putting it past Zaroury having another belter as well. That dip in form means nothing to me. He's a quality footballer, and
of course he is. Paul Yates raises a good point as well, saying Redmond's a good move, and we need an experienced PL player. It's well known that young players burn out, which I think I understand what he's trying to say. I think young, inexperienced players playing at the Premier League level will probably get too excited, too carried away, try and do too much, and will probably burn out. Maybe not in the 90 minutes, but over a period of games. And having someone like Redmond coming in, I think it's a no-brainer. So I think overall, Nathan Redmond is a resounding thumbs up. Everyone in the comments seems to like it.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen it with players like Livramento and Caliber. Like they've had spells at the club that they've been at, and then you hear nothing of them. Like Caliber more than likely gone, and Livramento fell off a cliff. Like, I don't even know what even happened to Livramento. So it's like, it happens.
Yeah, Andrew Bladdy mentioned that as well. I remember this happening a few years ago after the game. I think Southampton beat City, didn't they? And Guardiola was straight onto the pitch and into Redmond's ear, and he kept like praising him. Now, whether he was just like looking to deflect away from, like he does the Pep's little PR box that he's got. But you wonder if that connection, maybe Pep Guardiola had a whisper in his ear and said to Vincent, if you can get him for nothing, go and get him because he'll be a great addition. So on the back of Redmond, talking about sort of older experienced players, we are linked and looks to be done with Andros Townsend. He's been training with us, apparently just get in shape and have a feel about get a feel of what we're doing. I think he falls pretty similar into the Nathan Redmond category. Probably a little bit not as I'm not as excited as Andros Townsend as I am for Redmond.
Yeah.
Just because I think Andros has had quite a crap patch with injuries, and he really. But
yeah,
I think again adding another player like Andros, I think what do you think he'll bring to the table?
Premier League experience, Premier League quality. Scored bangers against us in the past. That goal against City is one of the best goals I've ever seen. Like how he can just pluck that out the sky, keep it at the same level the whole way. Great goal. Similar to a player, a little bit, not necessarily exactly, but similar to a player like Gudmundsson. Like Gudmundsson was never blessed with any pace, but Gudmundsson for me is a brilliant technical footballer. He's very good at swinging the ball into the box. Every time he does get a set piece, it's normally Bob on the money. Similar with somebody like Andros Townsend. If he loses his pace, it's not the end of the world, because I never remember seeing Andros Townsend get the ball, carry the ball 40 yards with his pace like Gareth Bale did. Like I've seen Andros Townsend hit a ball from 40 yards and it sting the keeper's hands and it really makes touch the goalkeeper. And he has good vision. He can take a man on, stuff like that. So again, if you were telling me it was for £10 million, I'd be saying that's a bit weird. The fact that it's free and you're probably going to get him on between 25 and 30k a week because of his age, I don't really think, again, like there's much leverage to be like, that's a bit annoying. It's free. It's not a lot of money. And there's a lot more upside than there is downside. So
providing he stays in decent nick and can keep away from injuries, I think even if you went top heavy at like 40k a week, it to me just seems like a no-brainer. He's going to be able to talk to these young lads about what it's like to play at Old Trafford, or like how it is to deal with the tight ground at Crystal Palace. He's going to give all these little bits of insight, like the extra stuff off the pitch and I think he's just going to be, I feel like Kompany is setting up a little bit of like I don't know how you word it properly, but like almost, I'm trying to imagine it like in a business point. You've got like a little managers group, haven't you, that look after all the other, and I feel like he's setting up this little group of experienced, calm, like good lads, like just a good group of lads like Corky, Brownhill, and Andros, and I feel like these lads that are coming in, they're almost worth the money that you spend on them, whether it is, if it's a top heavy wage and a little bit of like a upfront fee to them straight in the back pocket because they're a free transfer. And I think all that is just we're gonna notice that these signings later on in the season. I think we're gonna notice them signings when we have a bit of a mid-season wobble, and then these experienced heads get together, they regroup, and they preach Kompany's message to the other lads on the pitch. So I'm excited. It's nice to see us be linked with actually good experienced players, not just experienced players.
Yeah, because we in the past have looked at those experienced players and like looked at like experienced players, like players that should not gain any more experience type players, like players that are like done at that level, and we somehow with a retirement home where like, have one last payday in the Premier League. It's like now it is nice to see that, like, okay, we're bringing in all the players, but it's like you're talking like Nathan Redmond, Andros Townsend. Andros Townsend, when they signed him for Everton, said that him and Damari Gray were a steal because he was free and Damari Gray was like £1 million, £2 million. Like, all these things just come back to this whole like the board, the manager, like everything is working in this perfect cog where Kompany is like. And the thing is as well, this isn't even to go back to like the Dyche days and say that things didn't work. They worked. We stayed in the Premier League for a long time, like. But now it's nice to see it from the other standpoint. It's like this time it feels like we're going to give this a proper go. Wherever we finish, we're going to then take the next step the season after. It feels like we're on that trajectory of a Brighton. And if all fails and we don't end up doing brilliantly this season, and God forbid, we do end up having a relegation battle, we have the tools there that gives you a little bit of a feeling before match day saying, okay, Tella's injured if we get him, say. oh, we've got Redmond, brilliant. Oh, he's injured. Townsend's there. It just fills you with like Boyd's injured.
Yeah.
Who's this academy striker, Chris Long, who's going to come on in the Premier League? Or Dan Adji. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's nice to see us actually having a transfer window on the front foot rather than sitting back, letting everybody else do the business. Because that's what it felt like the club did, is they let everybody else do the business, let them make all the stupid, massive sign. Because I don't want us to get suckered into paying 20 million more than a player should be worth, but I also don't want to lose out on players that can actually bring something to take us forward. And if that means paying a little bit more, sometimes it's worth it, rather than sitting at the back of the room, watching everybody have all the fun, pick all the best bits, and then all we're doing is just picking the scraps off the table. And I really feel like that what we're trying to do. I think Vincent's leading this, I do think. I really do. I think, obviously, the director of football and Alan Pearson out there having a big say in it all, but I think Kompany's leading it and saying, I need this, and this. I don't care. I'm not asking for who it is. I need you to go and find me this, and this. And I seem to think it's working.
Like at the end of last season, when he's going to all these different teams, just like Stade Rennais, Strasbourg, and he's going and watching these games. Like he's a young manager as well, so he's a foot manager. Like he's saying, like, okay, I'll take the time out to go and look at this guy, so I can give you my honest opinion and say, I want him. Now you send your scouts over to pre-season and watch him, see how he does, how he trains and stuff like that, and tell me whether or not you think he's worth 11 million quid. I trust your judgment, but I'm trying myself.
Exactly. I think he set the tone himself, Kompany, when, like, 4 days after we did the trophy parade, he's like out watching Arsenal game. He's out watching it, and I'm like, mate, just chill out. Like, go and have an holiday. Like, you have given us one at best seat. Just go and have an holiday. It's not a problem. Don't worry about it. But like, fair play to him. He's obviously gone out looking for what he wants, and he's smashing it. And next one. I'm going to absolutely butcher this name, and I know probably a few other Burnley fans are, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for Zeki Amdouni from Basel FC Basel. Literally, this one came out of nowhere. Like, this went from nothing to, we've signed, we signed him. He's on his way over for a medical. 18 million euro fee's been agreed. I don't really know what much to say about him. The only thing I've got from him is he's 22-year-old. He's a first-team Swiss international. Bagged 20 odd goals last season, couple of assists. And the Swiss fans that have been, had a mooch around this evening online and read a few comments, they think he's, better than sliced bread sort of thing. So, what do you know about him, or what do you think? What are your thoughts on? I don't even want to try it again. I'm gonna have to. Zeki Amdouni.
Zeki Amdouni. So I watched the Switzerland and Spain under-21s game because there's been no football on. So I decided to watch it. He scored in the 2-1 loss to them. He looked a good player there. Not to say that I watched the game and I was like, oh, get him in, because he just looked a good player. But I mean, just go watch the YouTube videos, man. Like,
I know
the guy looks. I mean, a YouTube video does do that, but he looks so good. And it's like, even though it's come out of nowhere, like, you back the Benson transfer, you back the,
of course you do,
you back the Zaruri transfer, you back the Bayer transfer. These players are out of nowhere, and these players are now players that we as Burnley fans don't think we could live without in the Premier League. We're saying Benson's worth 40 million, so AC Milan, if you want him, come pay 50, 60. Like, I think, again, it's just testament to the club's transfer policy now of, we're not just shopping in retirement homes. We're not shopping in a pool of players that feels like, no other team would touch, and we're just there trying to buy players on his own. Like, they're all having their transfer window, and we're there in like a little park in Burnley town centre going like, you want to play for Burnley? It's like they don't feel like that anymore. Like, it feels like we're looking at this young player who's been at an under-21s European Championship, who's scored against Spain in a semi-final, and they've looked at it and gone, this guy's got a bit of quality, and he plays for Basel, and he's scored goals in European competition. Let's take a punt on him. And, we bought Lyle Foster for 7 million quid. Nobody knew who he was. We're still waiting to see if he can be the player that we expect him to be. Now we could have an attacking strike force of Amdouni, Lyle Foster, Jay Rodriguez, and Wout Weghorst. Now, if you were telling me that four was going to be our attacking quartet in the striker position, I'd have laughed at you at the start of the transfer. I'd have said we'd have had Jay Rodriguez and one more.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That could be brilliant for us. Having that depth at striker could be so good.
I know. I was watching, and like you said, the show reels that like you can make me a show reel and make me look like fucking any player you want. You know what I mean? I don't like watching show reels because I think you don't put the bad bits in someone's show reel, do you? Like, if I make a show reel of all the stuff I've designed, I'm not going to put the absolute turd that gets rejected in, am I? So it's like, but when I watched the clips of him, and it was a lot of his goals, like a lot of his attacking plays was from sort of like 20 yards out, like little touches in and around 1-2s with other players, and I just think he's going to slot in so well because we're going to have these flying wingers, these flying wingers bombing past him, and he's going to be dropping in. He's effectively going to play. It seems like it'd be like a false number 10, which is like something I've never really heard. I don't think is a false 10 a thing, or have I just made that up? I don't know.
I think based on how Rodriguez started the season, he was like he'd pick the ball up in midfield, then spread it out wide, and then he'd get himself into the box with a late run.
Yeah,
I think this guy looks similar. Like he likes to receive the ball further out from goal, but he's very comfortable at getting the ball and then a sharp turn left to take the ball. Then he's got enough presence of mind to like play it very quickly and then make the move. And that's what we want to see. Like our style of play suits that, which I felt we didn't have the striker last season to fit that, like to get the ball, play and go. It's one of the things that I was worried about if Weghorst does stay, which in fairness, I am coming round to the fact of like, I do actually want him to stay now. Like I'm pretty happy with him being there. That's one of the things that I'd be worried about with him is like, does he have the legs to get from centre mid to a late run into the box in the space of 15 seconds? I'm not sure, but I'd like him to prove me wrong. Whereas I think this guy fits that bill perfectly. I think he'll be there constantly. And if we can get him going in front of goal, I think we've got a real gem on his hands there as well.
Yeah. This kid looks like I won't say real deal. I don't want to egg him up too much, but he looks like a proper player, you know what I mean? He looks like
the Swiss Messi, as I saw a comment in the
chat. The Swiss Messi that popped up. But it just looks like that next level of European footballer to me. Like it just looks like his stature, the way he carries the ball. He wears his socks down his back of his legs a little bit too low for my liking, but he's got that. He's got that like I should be touching European football swagger about him, which is the caliber player I think we should be going for. We should be touching to look at and stuff.
Ambitious players is what every club aspires to have. If you have a player that comes in who wants to be at your club to improve themselves and the team in the process, I don't think you can lose from that.
No,
I think our thing in the past was we brought in players that were kind of already in that kind of sphere of, we've been Premier League footballers for like maybe 5-10 years. Like I don't have anything left to prove. These players have something to prove. So I think it's a good signing, like you say.
Yeah, and this transfer in particular, the news reporting out of it was Kompany personally got stuck into Zeki on the phone, and Kompany was almost like selling him the dream. Not selling him the dream. That sounds like he's trying to con him into, playing for dog and duck or something. But like he was on the phone to him, and I think I sort of talk about that for a minute about Kompany's pulling power and like how has that changed our target? Will have that affected who we go for? Will it mean that we will just throw a cheeky bid in for a player that 2 years ago probably didn't even know where Burnley was? Does having Kompany pull these players in, does it give us that extra reach that other clubs don't have?
So I think there's two parts to that. I think part of it's Kompany and part of it is how clever the club have been in general with everything they've done since his appointment. So obviously the side of it is you could go back to the first podcast I did with Joe last season. And I said, without disrespecting Burnley even slightly, Vincent Kompany is bigger than the club. Like Vincent Kompany is known worldwide. Vincent Kompany is known as Manchester City's captain. He's known as a Premier League winner. He's known as he's known as a brilliant captain. When people talk about all-time Premier League teams, he is in the conversation for centre halves. When you bring a player of that stature in to manage your club, it's not like when you bring somebody like, okay, again, no disrespect, but Michael Duff. If we'd have signed Michael Duff at the start of last season and said he's our manager for the season, nobody would be talking about Burnley now.
No.
Even if he hit 103 points, they'd be saying the football's good, but you wouldn't be saying it's Michael Duff's Burnley, and that's the reason. Vincent Kompany brings an aura about him as this young, ambitious manager who is exactly like he was in his playing days. Ambitious, headstrong leader, and he's unswayed. He's got his ideas of how things are going, and he's buying players to fit that mold. He's not doing what Dyche did, where it's kind of like who's available in the nicest possible way. Again, to Dyche, we were shopping in a completely different market. The comment there about speaking 5 languages is another huge thing. It's a manager who has the ability to speak to different players from different countries. He has his own scouting network, i.e. himself. He goes to every game that ever has happened in different countries. And then, sorry for it to go on so long, but then to go to the club side of it is the club have then gone and changed the things around the stadium, brought in bigger boards, done things in the in the hospitality section. They're doing the paving stones on the outside. These are little things, but they're actually, if you're a Burnley fan, you see it. Then you go further ahead. They've signed JJ Watt out of nowhere. And
I don't know if anyone's seen that video that he's done tonight, by the way. Have you seen that? Making a Benny and Hot.
It's hilarious.
He fucking despises that drink.
Yeah, he does. He
but
hates it.
Fair play to him. Yeah. But sorry, carry on.
No. But then, like, you've got JJ doing every single thing right himself from his standpoint. He's won a Burnley cap to bed every single night since he became a part owner of Burnley. And then you look at this. Is it for the life, Dude Perfect? Is that it?
Yeah, that is massive.
That is so clever, because that's not even necessarily for Burnley. That's for Burnley's academy and Burnley's like youth section of the squad. And all that does is just say, American viewers, come over. Zaruri, Moroccan. Your Moroccan viewers are in. South Africa, Lyle Foster. The club have also been so clever in this situation. So we have created this thing. We've got a Sky documentary. All these things. We've got 103 points. Beat Blackburn in their own backyard to win a title. All this stuff came together for this great narrative of going into the Premier League. We are a very, very, very attractive football club to sign for, and that is down to Vincent Kompany as a manager and the board and Alan Pace. So credit to everybody.
Well, that's what I was going to wrap up what you just said. I was just going to say that package sounds sexy. Like, to me, like, if you can, like, I know what it's like to live in Burnley. Like, I've been, been a Burnley fan home. Like, I know what it's like. It's not the nicest place. There's better places to live. I love Burnley because it's my town, my team. But what they've done to get players to us is said, they've gone, look, we're smashing North America. Chances are we'll be playing in North America at some point next summer if we stay in the Premier League. So there's that whole market for players to get stuck into. You've got the Do Perfect partnership. We've redone all the facilities. We're just upping the levels of everything, and that makes such a difference. And I think it has started because Kompany has. I mean, I think this has been the aim for Alan Pace and his team, that they want to like uplift the club, aren't they, with everything. But I think Kompany coming in has accelerated that, because even just little things like, I say little things, it's not a little thing, but like Gary Neville doing the overlap, like that's something I never thought I would ever say in a sentence. I've got my manager, Vincent Kompany, walking around Padium with Gary Neville talking about Erling Haaland in a Burnley kit, like talking to Vincent in a Burnley, like that is something. If I had told myself 10 years ago, I'd have been like, what are you on about? Like, Burnley will never reach levels like that. And I think that makes such a massive difference to bringing players in. So it's no surprise that we are just going out and just signing Basil's best player. Basil, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're like Champions League, like Europa League regulars, aren't they? So we've just pulled him out of there, and he's signed for us. And
absolutely. Absolutely. I just think...
No, carry on. No, I was just going to move on to the next bit. Go on, fill that in before I do.
No, I was just going to say, like we were saying though, it's just testament to where we're at now. Like this pulling power from Kompany as well. Like he takes the time out of his day to make transfers happen because he knows how big of an impact it has.
Yeah.
You like go to all the big teams and look at big signings. 9 times out of 10, the manager's sat down with the player, talked them through things. It's his way. He's been at City for years. He's seen him do it with other players. It's his way of doing it, and it adds just a little extra touch. It's like, oh, here's the numbers, here's the figures, here's the contract. Come in, sit in medical, and sit down. Or I've done 18 phone calls with Vincent Kompany since last night. He's rang me every hour on the hour to tell me how much he loves me, and that makes a difference. So yeah,
are we agreeing then that Kompany's phone call has more pulling power than Sean Dyche's omelette?
A Sean Dyche omelette does sound nice, but if Vincent Kompany rang me every hour to tell me he loves me, I think I'd be weak in the knees. So
I think I would. I'll take a Kompany phone call any day. Right, next one. I'm expecting the reviews of this to go through the roof now because we're going to mention Coventry. As soon as Burnley fans mention Coventry on socials, it goes absolutely batshit. So anyway, Gustavo Hamer from Coventry. Apparently, we're working hard to get the deal done. There's been some talks, I believe, what I've been told and had news passed on. Obviously, 15 million, that seems to be just, if Burnley are interested, 15 million quid, that seems to be going rate. Gustavo Hamer, for me, feels like a really good, positive signing. I think it adds another name into that midfield section that we not desperately need, but we really do need. But yeah, I know you wanted to speak about Gustavo, who you mentioned before we start. You wanted to speak about him, so the floor is yours. Tell us all about him.
Obviously, being in the Championship last season, you do take an interest in some of the other teams. Obviously, one of our biggest random out of nowhere rivalries because we tried to sign Callum O'Hare once for about 8 minutes. Coventry seemed to be a club that I kind of kept an eye on, not from the standpoint of like I was obsessed. I actually really liked Coventry before the whole thing happened, and I still really like Coventry. I still want them to do well. It was just really weird at the midpoint in the season that they fabricated a rivalry because we bid for a player, but it seems like that could happen all over again this summer. But Gustavo Hamer is a very, very, very good footballer, like very technical, ready for that jump to the Premier League. The price tag's not horrendous at £15 million. No. Especially when you've got the leverage of sending Luke McNally out on loan and him performing so well. I think that added noughts to what we paid. So not noughts, sorry, but extra figures. We bought him for like 2 million, something like that.
Yeah, it was around that word. It was quite low figure.
So for me now, going from that League One player that we spent £2 million on and having a very good season, I'm going to lowball it because I did see some people saying earlier that it'd be valued at around £5 to £6 million. I think tops personally about £4 million. And with Bobby Thomas's rise through, he's played for like 3-4 different clubs now on loan. Every club he's been unbelievable. I would be a little tiny bit gutted to see him go, but I also see the positive in having this academy player sell for like £2 million and actually making a move to someone he's genuinely going to play for. So I do think that will happen by the end of the transfer window. If he stays brilliant, he might be in the fold, but I could definitely see Bobby Thomas leaving. So apparently we had this bid of 2 players and cash rejected. I did see a few Burnley fans saying like, oh, why would you not accept that? You don't know what the cash figure is. We could have very easily lowballed it at like £5 million and exceeded what we believe McNally and these players to be worth. I think a genuine offer that should be accepted by Coventry under all circumstances is a 10 to £11 million bid of cash and those 2 players. I can't find any world where Bobby Thomas and Luke McNally are worth any less collectively than £6 million. Or £5 to £6 million.
But so it's one of them. Like even if we overinflate McNally's price, it's sort of not say Coventry's fault, because I'll probably get cancelled on Twitter for saying it's Coventry's fault for letting McNally have the season that he had, because by all accounts, he was their star performer. It's sort of similar to what's happened with Tella. Like, Tella's only been, we're so attached to getting him because he was so good. So Southampton have inflated, I think they've inflated the value really high, and they're making it really hard to get. And I think we can leverage McNally a little bit more. We might just have to cut our losses. We've got quite a lot of centre halves in the door. If we lose one of them young upcoming centre halves in McNally to replace him with arguably one of the, probably the top 10 players of the Championship last season, I think it's a positive all round. And if we can get that deal done for, like you say, I'd be happy with even like 10 mil cash and McNally, which I think, and then throw in some, I don't know, some like add-on bonuses, if we stay up and he scores a couple of goals or gets a few international caps, whatever, like, I think, throw that in there. And I think that's a good deal all around. It's more cash in the bank for Coventry, and they get a replacement. They get an instant player straight back to them. They don't have to then look for another player to fill a hole that McNally's left. So I think Gustavo, I think it's a win-win. And I hope that one does come good. But I do want to bring in a tweet that I've seen online from our good friend Simon Gilbert. You might have seen him knocking about. He's trying to force this rivalry. I don't get it. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like, what's this all about? Like, Burnley with champagne taste and lemonade pockets. Like, what are they realistically looking for Hamer? Like, are they literally looking for 30 million? Is that what they're thinking, or?
See, this is the point where, like I was saying about the whole Coventry thing, like, it was a bit annoying at like the midpoint of last season, but it's like now, not even in the same division, it's just a bit weird. And this just shows how some journalists can be very, very good with what they do, and some journalists are just antagonizing, like to go for the throat in every situation and not do any research. Lemonade pockets were spending 19 million pound on a goalkeeper, 18 million pound on a Basel striker. We're buying 2 players for free transfers. Fair enough. Lock us up. What's wrong with that? We've spent 15 on Bayer, and we've spent 7 on Dara O'Shea. Like, if you put the money there, it's not lemonade pockets, really, is it?
No.
And I just think it's really weird. Yeah. But from the other side of it, which I was saying, like, I don't have any bad blood towards Coventry, they do deserve to get a good fee for Hamer. You've done so well in that recruitment side of bringing him in out of nowhere, and he's been brilliant. You deserve some money, but you have to be realistic. He won't sell for 16, 17, 18 million pounds. Nobody will touch that. 15 is already a little bit too much. I'd say 13, 14, I would say is fine. The fact was throwing in like 6 million quid's worth of players. Like, honestly, take the deal. You're getting 2 brilliant centre halves and 10 million pounds to get a replacement centre midfielder. Like,
exactly. And like, you got to toe a fine line with players that they know that they're probably their time at Coventry, unless Coventry get promoted next season, like, his time at Coventry is coming to an end because he wants that Premier League move. You don't want to keep a player longer than he should be at a club, whether he wants to move on or what he doesn't. But some players, you have to get them out the door to let them progress themselves. And I think now we're sat here now saying, 10 to 15 million plus a player or 2 in your way. Like, just take the deal. Like, it's not a bad deal. Like, we're not shafting you. We're not like trying to steal him off you for 4 million quid and Bobby Thomas. Like, we're offering good cash and we're offering you 2 good players. Like,
but he has 1 year left on his contract.
Yeah, well, now, exactly.
Look at our rivals from down the road. Where they have their best striker since Alan Shearer, best striker since God's gift, and they've sold him for nothing. Don't be like them. Like, you can be very sensible in this. You've just got 24 million pounds for a very, very, very good striker who I personally would have been over the moon to have signed. And if we sign Hamer, that means you have done similar to what we did we sold 70 million pounds worth of players because we can't keep all our best players all the time because we're not Chelsea, we're not City, we're not United. We then went and invested that back. They've done very well with Ellis Sims, and I believe, not 100% positive, but Johnson Clark Harris signed today.
Right. Yeah, so I think I saw that other day.
Yeah, that's 2 brilliant strikers to have brought in to replace Gyökeres. You get 13, 12 million quid for Gustavo Hamer.
Yeah,
You could bring in a baller centre midfielder
exactly.
and have 2 centre halves to enjoy.
Exactly.
So take the deal, man.
Yeah. So on that, Coventry, let him give us Gustavo. Give us Gustavo. We'll have him. We'll have him. Yeah, we're wrapping up these links now. We've got one more that it's in the making, it's in the mixing. I feel like it's a bit of a soft, I won't say soft link, but it's not as concrete as the others. But Amid Diallo from I forget. I did write it down. I forgot where his parent club is, but it was at Sunderland last year, weren't he?
Man United.
Yeah, it's Man United. That's the one. Sorry. Like that seems like one of them Premier League loans that I think would work. Again, he was in sort of the top end of highly rated players in the Championship last year. Now's probably his fair crack to have a go in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. You bob on there, mate. When we were linked with Jack Clark, he was the first name that I brought up in that conversation. I'm not one of these people who's gonna like see this link and then I'm gonna be like, I love this player. I love him. He's brilliant. Even with somebody like Amdouni, I still think that the lad from Metz personally was sold to me a little bit more than this kid at the moment. From what I've seen of this kid, he still looks good, but I still think that this Georgian lad was the one that if he said to me, we're going to sign him, brilliant. Same with players like Mike Trezor when we talked about this.
Yeah.
When we were linked with Jack Clark, the first thing that I said was he wasn't even the best winger at Sunderland.
Yeah.
So why would we spend 12 million quid on Jack Clark when somebody like Amad Diallo's there on the chopping block for Man United? If they don't really want him, we can take a player like that. I think he's a quality footballer. I think he's very raw. I think when he did come into Sunderland, I think you did see that in certain spells, but then it's like that goal that he scored in the semi-final. I mean, that was just unbelievable. Like that, what a goal that was! Like just a flick back and curl into top corner, brilliant. So he shows a lot of quality, and in a loan deal as well. Like it's not
exactly. Yeah, I think one of them would be a win-win all round for player, club, and parent club, won't it? That United have got a player out in the Premier League, plying the trade. Getting some Premier League experience. If he has a worldie of a season, United just go, yep, we'll have him back and we'll start thinking about integrating him to the first team. Or he impresses that much that we're like, right, we'll give you whatever you want for him, United. We'll have him. So I think it ticks a lot of boxes for me. I don't mind that signing. Next, last one, I think Nathan Tella saga's dragging on a little bit in it. I think it isn't going away. I'm of the understanding that he will be a Burnley player at some point in the next 4 to 5 weeks throughout this transfer window period. However long that takes, I don't know. But I am of the understanding that he will be a Burnley player at some point in the next before the transfer window shuts. I think it's a deal that makes sense for everybody. You know what I mean? It's just the easiest deal in any club's transfer window this summer.
Absolutely. I think when all you need to do is go back to last season. Like, even like you don't have to be a Burnley fan to know this. Like the guy was brilliant on loan for last season. He lit it apart. His chances in front of goal, he buried all of them. Joe's very lucky. He's got his mortgage from that Middlesbrough game. He didn't bet his mortgage on that one. But Nathan Tella is a fantastic footballer, and for £15 million, when we were having these conversations on the podcast last year, you mean with Joe and Neil, we were all saying £20 million we'd have him. £15 million. I would be laughing to buy him for £15 million.
Exactly.
So I agree with you. I'm not in these links of £15 million. I'm not under any illusion that the club sat there going, whoa, too much. Like they know that it's a good price. We're just seeing. Because we don't necessarily need to go and be like, we're going to give you 15 million quid now. We need Nathan Tella right now. We can buy him in 2 weeks. Nobody else is going to come in and be like, oh, we'll spend 25 on Nathan Tella. Because he wants to play for Burnley because of how well he did. So,
even if one of the relegated teams in the Championship go, oh, Nathan Tella were decent last year, or we'll try and, we'll give you 10 million for him to buy him. No one's going to come in and outbid us for Nathan Tella because we love him. He loves us. Like he did not want to leave us at the end of the season. You see that picture. I took a picture. It got shared around a little bit, and it was just Nathan Tella in the rain, flag on, bucket hat on, just sat contemplating at Turf Moor. Like he did not want to leave this club. Like he bought into it. He loves it. He loves us. We love him.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I really want him to stay because I really want to come back to us. I think he deserves the chance to prove to Southampton that he should have played last season for them.
Yeah,
he would have been. I think he would have been the difference in them staying up. I
we
really do.
We had this argument week in, week out, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like why you would go back to your parent club that said you weren't good enough for the Premier League to then watch them get relegated while you get promoted.
Yeah.
Nearly at a record points, being one of the best teams in Championship history and being a crucial part of that. I don't think the narratives align back up. It's like, oh, we got relegated and we didn't want you. I was a pivotal player in a season that will go down in history. They don't align. You wouldn't want to go back to Southampton that said you weren't good enough. Yeah. So I think he's the player that everybody wanted to bring back.
Yeah.
You know, I'd still to this very moment still think if it was possible for us to get Howard Bellis and Tella, I still think I'd bite that off as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not pushing my luck. I don't think we're going to have 120, 125 million pound transfer window. No. We need to buy where is necessary. Yeah. So if it was up to me and you had a toss up, I think Howard Bellis has the better upside, but Nathan Tella, I just love the bloke. I'd love to bring him in.
Yeah, I think like you said with the whole stories aligning and stuff, you've got the club that said you're not good enough for us in the Premier League to then be sent out on loan in the Championship, who then was probably one of the best players in the Championship, or at least in Burnley fans' opinions anyway. Yeah. To then Southampton are now going, you're going to take us back up. You're the man we believe in. It's like, well, hold on a minute, like. And it might seem really simple and really like petty to talk about, like, but I think I think Nathan Tella will think that. He'd be like, hold on a minute, why didn't you back me when you needed me? Yeah. Like, you lost Livramento, like, you needed, you had a lot of striking, you couldn't hit the fucking back of the net for ages. Like, you needed me. You could have called me back in January when you needed me more than ever, and you still didn't take me back when you needed me.
Just look at, we brought it up again. I do this every time I go on a podcast. I say, go back to all these previous pods we've done, but they signed Elyounoussi 3 odd years ago. He went out on loan to Celtic and all this type of stuff, and he went here, there, and everywhere. And then he's come back, and he's been in the team. They spent £25 million on Sulemana from Stade Rennais. Didn't do anything until the last week of the season where he scored twice. You bring in Miroslav Orsic, boo. Who didn't feature, didn't play. I literally didn't see him touch a ball playing for Southampton. You're going to tell me that Nathan Tella's not good enough, but then in order to replace Nathan Tella, we need to spend £35 million on wingers that didn't do as well as Nathan Tella anyway.
No. Yeah, it's not the only thing.
You're not going to go back and be like, oh, bring me in, boss.
Exactly. I think, it's a deal. It's all going to get done. I think Southampton, personally, I think they're just waiting until the Ward-Prowse situation sorted. I think once that's sorted, there's a big cash injection. They can then go. Obviously they've got their own targets to reinvest that money, and that's where we're at. And it might take 2 weeks, might take 2 days, might take 6 weeks. But Nathan Tella's going to be in the Burnley shirt next year, and I'm all for it. So that's all transfers wrapped up. As well, solid links anyway in terms of transfers. We could be here for 3 hours talking about all the players we've been linked to. But I just want to move on to the friendlies quickly. So I wanted to throw it out there that personally, I think this is one of the best pre-season summer friendly lineups I have ever seen as a Burnley fan. Like I said to you just before we came on, I was like, this is slightly frustrating because I'm married, I've got a kid, I've got responsibilities now. 7 years ago, like if I was single, bit more cash in my pocket, I'd have been on every single one of them, and that would have been one of the best summers ever. Going to like Portugal, Belgium, like the teams were playing. I know pre-season means nothing in terms of like results or whatever, but to test ourselves against, I think, pretty similar standard of teams across the European country, I think it's unbelievable. And I think that, again, comes back to Vincent Kompany's meticulous planning.
Well, it's a similar level and a step above. Like, Real Betis are a very good team. They won Spanish Cup couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
You had, Benfica are giants of Portugal.
Yeah,
it's either them, Porto, or Sporting every single year.
I retract that comment. They're absolutely nowhere near our level.
Yeah, they're huge.
Genk and Mayens are, but them two are just monster in comparison
I know
to us.
exactly what you meant. We are massive.
Yeah.
No, like the Genk one as well. The Genk one's a good one because Genk play European football every season or every other season. And then Mainz have had a dip in form, but a couple of seasons ago, they were a brilliant Bundesliga team. They had players that people wanted. Fantastic ambition from the club. I wouldn't expect to go into these games and expect us to win all these games.
No.
But all these games make a difference. It's all well and good going into pre-season and playing Shamrock Rovers and teams in Austria, which is fine because you're still getting a run out. But this gives you a good quality. Like some of these players that play for Betis and Genk and all, they play for the national teams. They're no scrubs at football.
Yeah, they're no chumps, are they?
Brilliant academy players as well. Yeah. Their academy players I mean, Portugal academies are ridiculous. Benfica's academy is a joke. Their academy team up against ours would be a slaughter. So the positives are we're coming up into a pivotal time in the year. We're starting the season, but we're starting the season off with quality teams and a good challenge, which is what we need.
Exactly.
And I think it's positive to see. So again, shout out to the club once again. Fantastic stuff.
It fits into what we were talking about before, like raising levels across the board of everything, like whether it's down to changing what the pies are or, like they've raised the level. We're not playing Aki Stanley because we're doing them a favour at pre-season or we're not playing, we're not sending, we are sending 23s to that Lancaster, but that would have been like one of our mainstay fixtures where, Dash would have sent Corky and all that, they'd have sent a few, it'd have been a mixed team, wouldn't it? Yeah. So to see us play against these teams, I think, I probably am reading too much into it, but I think it's probably where Kompany says, no, I need to see us against this level of opposition in Europe because that's where I want to take us. That's where I probably am reading way too much into it and I'm well giddy about all these fixtures in this next season. But to me, that's what it looks like Kompany's doing. He's saying, no, this is the bar I'm setting. I want to get us a good feel and we're going to see where we need to get to,
Absolutely. I think
I'm going to bring this comment that came in before as well, and just want to say thank you to Mox EAS, if I've said that right or whatever. But appreciate the super chat and the fiver, I really do. But he raises a really, really good point. And again, probably the only caveat to pre-season is I do wish we had a home pre-season friendly. Yeah. One, because I wanted to take my little lad on. He's only like 20 months. He's like, I'm just trying to get into football. I'd just love to see him, just to try him out at a friendly game, so you can dip in and out. It's not too raucous. Yeah. But I do think we've not had a home game friendly arranged because of the works going on down Harry Potter's way. I think they are going to be scheduled to complete pretty tight to the season. So I think that's the reason as to why we don't have a home game. Is what it is. We'll see the benefit of that at the City game when that just looks that whole approach to the turf looks a lot better and feels a lot better. So.
We all like a home game, don't we? I mean, away days are good, but a home game, just especially first game, like pre-season time, it's like your foot back into coming to football.
Exactly,
It makes you ready for the season.
I'm trying to see both like positives out of it, and I think not stepping foot on the turf until Friday night, Man City at home, the treble winners. Yeah, like at the turf, Burnley are back, Kompany's back, like. The first time we've stepped foot on the turf, we're going to be playing against the best team in the world.
Are we at home on first game?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I didn't even know that.
I hope we are, and I'm not just an absolute tit of myself in front of a load of people.
Let me double check. You carry on talking.
No, our first away game was Luton, and obviously that got canned in, which I just knew full well that was going to get canned in because...
Of course.
Yeah, which is it's not a bag against Luton. Like, what they had to get done is just... unbelievable. Like they've got such a big task ahead of them. And I think fair play to them because they're taking on an absolute monumental task in getting ready for the Premier League, and I wish them all the best next season because I do like Luton. I speak to a lot of their fans sometimes, and I've got a lot of time for them. But yeah, first game back, City at home. That's the first time we step foot back on the turf.
Best time to play him. Best time to play him.
Hopefully Jackie Grealish is still on the piss, isn't he? So.
I know. No, I mean it might not be brilliant viewing when everybody's playing match week 2 and we're bottom of the league, 0 points.
Yeah.
No difference.
I know. It is what it is. Like if they come to us and absolutely steamroll us, it's a welcome to the Premier League. It's the best football team I've ever seen in my lifetime. Anyway. Yeah. If they batter us, they batter us. If not, anyway, this is probably... We're dipping into a preview pod now that Joe's sat at home going red-faced, going, shut up, you're stealing me content.
I've just checked my phone. He's not messaged me yet, but he probably will in a minute.
No, I think we'll wrap it up there. We've done about an hour. We've done over an hour. I just want to say massive thank you to everyone that's watched us. We've had like really decent numbers. All the comments, I've been reading them all, and I've just been trying to fit them in where I can because we've both been chatting away. But again, really appreciate Joe welcoming us into Turfcast and letting us, throw some ideas out there and build this channel up. And yes, stick with us and keep watching, keep subscribing, keep following us. And I think you'll see us kick on this year. I think you're going to see a lot of good content from us. So yeah, if you want to remind everyone where they can find you, Sam, again, and they can listen to your rants on Twitter even more.
Absolutely. Yeah, Clarence Roundup page. Sorry if you've been watching and you get very bored of my voice. I do. When I waffle. I can't help it. And if we're talking Burnley, I can waffle for days. But yeah, Clarence Roundup page. Come over and have a chat. Love it. And stick around for Turfcast. There's a lot coming this year. So yeah. Wait for that. Enjoy that.
Yeah, it really is. We're really kicking up a level this year, and we've had to because everybody else's levels have gone up. The other pods have kicked on, so we've had to sort of step up and get our arse in gear. But yeah, on that note, cheers for your time, Sam. Cheers for everyone watching. And yeah, get yourself subscribed to Turfcast.